My name is Busayo and I just thought I should introduce myself as your host on Broken Road podcast. We'll try and make it a weekly podcast, and the foundation for Broken Road is based on Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1, which says that He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim the captives will be released and prisoners will be freed. Our vision on Broken Road is to proclaim healing, freedom, and liberation from abuse. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Broken Road. Broken Road is that platform where we proclaim healing, liberation, and freedom from abuse. My name is Busayo. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me again today. I sincerely appreciate everyone who has followed us this far. Thank you so much for the feedback that we've received. So today on Broken Road, we're going to be talking about a topic called the different faces of love. We all know that February 14 is approaching, so Valentine's Day is here again this year. And during this season, it's natural for us to begin to have so many emotions running through us as we view some of our friends or maybe relations who are in what we consider to be stable relationships, and we see a lot of notes being exchanged, so it's at this time, we may begin to feel sad, and even feelings of despondency may begin to set in. So we just want to examine how, examine how we can overcome some of these feelings and leave our hearts open to be able to receive love from the different sources it might be expressed to us through. So as I keep saying on Broken Road, I'm a Christian. I view my world through the lens of Christianity. I believe in the God of the Bible, and I believe that God loves me so much and He cares a lot about me. One thing I've found, or that I've discovered on my own work, is that no one human being can love me wholly, can just give me that love which I totally need. I can't receive it from one person. So I try not to take things personal. So let's assume now one is with a spouse who is unresponsive, or even with an abusive spouse, and that spouse is unable to give one love. What I have found, honestly, if you look at the Bible in John chapter 14 verse 18, the Bible says that, "No, I will not abandon you as orphans, I will come to you." So if you even consider that verse from the King James version, it actually says that God will not leave us comfortless. So what I have realized is that once we put our trust in Him, He would always find a way to reach us. Honestly, He will always find a way to reach us. But we have to keep our hearts open to be able to receive His expressions of love. Because sometimes when we get hung up on the fact that love must come from a particular person or group of people, and we miss the different expressions of love that may be sent to us. So another thing is that if let's say now we're married to an abusive spouse and we're not receiving the kind of love that we that we need, or let's say maybe we had to separate from that spouse and now we're by ourselves and we're not receiving, we don't have that particular figure, like the object of our emotions or affection, particular figure in our life who we consider to be the one person, that can give us the kind of love that we seek. So when we don't have that, we may begin to feel rejected. Then also there will be feelings of disappointment. So, but one thing I've learned in my own work and in my own journey is that love comes in various forms. So even if it's not your spouse that is expressing that love to you, if you keep your mind and your heart open and you don't compare yourself with anyone else, it could be your sister, could be a sibling that God is sending to you that would, for that season, would just be expressing love, will be there to listen to you, will be there to help. It could even be a baby. You know, sometimes when you feel sad and you hold a baby and the baby looks up to you and smile, that's an expression of love. So we have different phases of love. I'll give you an example. I recently had my birthday. So, and it's so interesting. So my birthday, the day before my birthday, I'm one that really, if you ask me, I'll tell you I don't like surprises. But to be honest with you, I was pleasantly surprised. One of my closest friends, she's even one of my chief supporters, she got somebody, another friend of mine, like a sister of mine actually, she got her to put up like a signage, happy birthday mom, in front of my house. You know, that was special to me. That meant a whole lot to me. That was an expression of love for me. That made my day. Okay. So then my immediate family, which consists of my children and my spouse, my husband, they gave me gifts, they gave me cards. That's an expression of love. They did not think about putting the sign out to surprise me, you know, but I don't hold it against them if they didn't think about it. So you see how my entire picture is coming together. Then my sister goes ahead and buys me a massage, like a massaging device. So then we got the cake, you know. So everything at the end of the day, when I consider my day, if you ask me how my day went, I'll tell you my day went beautifully because I had love, and the people that texted me to wish me happy birthday, they were expressing love to me. There were some of my very close friends who have always been there for me through the years. And, you know, for them to remember me on my birthday is very special to me. It means a lot to me. My pastor called me to pray for me on my birthday. Those are expressions of love. But if we think one person can give us all that love, I don't even like it's going to be putting too much pressure on that person, and not only on that person, on even ourselves, and we'll miss the little things, the little things that make life joyful. So what I'm trying to say today is that we may be in a situation where you're unable to speak to your spouse, you know, because your spouse is abusive, and there God brings a friend to you at that time. Usually it's in very rare circumstances that you won't have at least one person to talk to. That friend at that particular point in time is there for a particular reason, or that sibling, that sister that you can wake up in the middle of the night who will listen to you. That person is there as an expression of love. That is a face of love. It could be the child that we are holding on to, that we hold and we're caring for, that will just look at us one day and smile at us. I remember years about, I think it was in 2016, I was going through like some series of personal prayers, you know, because I needed some things dealt with in my own private life. And I had just concluded the 21 days Daniel's fast. I think that was the very last day of the fast. And as I said, sat down with my laundry to sort out the clothes. My son, my middle child, he was about, I think about 6 or 7 thereabouts. He just walked up to me. He laid his hand on my head and started praying for me. He just started praying in his own, like, but with the limited language he had then. But I received it because I saw it as God using him, walking through him. So there were times in my life when I was so down. When I mentioned just now that waking up a sister in the middle of the night, yes, my sister, I wake her up in the middle of the night to talk to her when I need to unburden, and she's always there for me. That is a face of love for me, and I believe that God sent her to express that love to me. So when we're going through things, especially when we're trying to heal, let's not forget these little expressions of love. Let's keep an open mind, because sometimes we just get hung up in the fact that our relationship has to be one man, one woman. I'm not saying that's being going to adultery. No, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying essentially is that we have our own preconceived ideas of what love should be. And when things don't happen, when our expectations are not met, we become discouraged, we become disappointed. So the best thing for us is to keep an open mind. That is what I've found to be true for me. To just keep an open mind, And sometimes these people might just be there for that season. You might realize that at some particular point in time, it might be a co-worker that is just guiding us through, helping us through at that particular season. And once that season is over, we just find out that we begin to, like, the relationship begins to fade. So we shouldn't take anything personal or hold on too tightly to anything, and just let's be free. Let's accept our own expressions of love. So even if the love that we have and we're receiving right now is not coming from the person that we feel it should come from, I'm not saying that we should go into adultery or seek alternatives. No, what I'm saying is that there are other ways that God expresses love to us. It could be through a friend, it could be through a sibling, it could be through even our parents. Sometimes we're feeling low and the phone rings. It's not a coincidence, it's an expression of love. So we should sit down and count our own expression of love, and that would help us, to free our minds, and we'll be able to move on, and we'll be able to heal, because we really need to heal. So it's not about, this person didn't send me flowers. No. If your mom sends you flowers, it's just as good as that person sending you flowers. Some people don't even know how to surprise other people, so they don't have it in them. But if God knows that you need that surprise, He will bring somebody to you that would show you that surprise. So we should, on our work, on our journey, keep an open heart. So even as we're entering into this weekend, let us take time to appreciate the different phases of love that may be shining at us, even as we journey on. Thank you so much. I know it's a short episode. I hope to see you next week. Bye, and have a nice weekend.